Okay, welcome to another episode of Smart Remarks. Sorry, our producer was sick, so we didn't do a show last week, but he's taking some vitamin C, feeling a lot better. We have so many different things we got to get into this week, as we only have 3 weeks left in the NFL season. So let's get this show kicked off. Okay, so for our Markman segment, what we're going to do is definitely just focus and sending our condolences, thoughts, and prayers out to the families of Cassandra Perkins, Javon Belcher, Josh Brent, Jerry Brown Jr., and for everyone in the New England area, unfortunately, what happened at Newtown, Connecticut, that elementary school out there, the families of the children and staff that were affected by that travesty. It's really crazy, you know, with all the different terrible things and terrible decisions that people do, how it affects people, not only just directly but indirectly as well. Okay, now for our funky bunch. In the NFC at number 5, I gotta have the New York Giants, the defending champions, right there. Still holding on to that lead in the division by a little bit, but we'll see what happens this upcoming week. They have a major test in front of them. And at number 4, I got the Green Bay Packers, who also play a very big, important game. They've been doing just enough to win barely, but they haven't been too impressive themselves, even though they still have the best quarterback in the league, in my opinion. And at number 3, I have the Seattle Seahawks. They have a lot of home games coming up for that wild card spot, and a big game coming up pretty soon with San Francisco after this week. So we'll see how Russell Wilson and that defense continue to play up in Seattle. Number 2, I gotta have the Atlanta Falcons. Even though they weren't very impressive against a division opponent in Carolina, a lesser team, they want that respect. They're gonna have to really earn it by beating a playoff caliber team this week in the Giants. So we'll see what happens with that. And at number 1, Colin Kaepernick, Jim Harbaugh, the San Francisco 49ers, still number 1, my favorite to come out the NFC. Just such a tough physical football team, continuing to play solid football week to week. Okay, now for our funky bunch in the AFC. At number 5, I never thought I'd say this, but my Super Bowl pick, the Baltimore Ravens. They're in deep trouble. Now, I still have them here at this spot because maybe they can turn it around a little bit, but it's going to be very tough with their upcoming game versus the Broncos and even their schedule after that. There's no layups. So, Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs, they better somehow get that defense together, and since they fired their offensive coordinator, hopefully they give Ray Rice the ball a little bit more to help them out. And at number 4, I have Who Dey Nation. The Cincinnati Bengals have been on fire these past couple of weeks, and they have sort of a layup themselves this week with the Eagles. But still, I don't know if they're going to be able to hold on and get into the wild card spot or even win the division, but they've been playing good football. Andy Dalton, AJ Green, and Ben Jarvis Green Ellis with that running game. At number 3, I have the Houston Texans. Seems like a couple of times when the Texans have played really good teams, or potential playoff teams anyway, they have not looked good when people think they still are the best team in football. They have to play Indianapolis this upcoming week, so we'll see what happens with them playing the Colts. Number 2, I have the Denver Broncos, who have been on a roll, winning like 8 games in a row, I think. And they play the Ravens in Baltimore, so we'll see what happens when Peyton Manning and Von Miller and that defense, they go down there and get themselves into a epic playoff type physical football game in the elements. And at number 1, no surprise here, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, the New England Patriots, with that young defense starting to come on. So the Patriots are a team to watch out for heading into the playoffs. They have another big game themselves, they have to play San Francisco. So it'll be quite interesting to see how they handle playing San Francisco in a big game. Okay, now for some smart picks. 3 weeks left in the season. I'm only down 1 game, so I got to make sure that I really come through these next couple of weeks. Last week I did go 9-7, so we're satisfied with that performance. But the 4 games I'm looking at this week, in a lineup that features many amazing football games between teams with winning records, I think the New York Giants really get their respect this week as defending Super Bowl champions. They go to Atlanta. They win the football game. I have Denver continuing their winning streak. They're going to go into Baltimore and figure out how to beat a struggling Ravens team. Pittsburgh is going to go to Dallas and win a tough football game down there, with Big Ben hopefully getting into a better rhythm, having his second game being back from that chest elbow injury. And I think the Patriots step up once again in a game versus a very, very tough physical opponent and football team. I think Tom Brady and that offense finds a way to edge San Francisco. So a question I wondered to myself in a week that featured a lot of different things going on in the NFL is one of the ideas that the competition committee looks at in the NFL, and that's playoff expansion. Now, initially, if you're for player safety like Goodell positions himself to be for, you would think that extending the regular season and expanding the playoffs would be a silly idea. Now, I'm not so sure if I agree with that, because if you added 1 team to the NFC playoff picture and 1 team to the AFC playoff picture, you can expand the playoffs without really extending the season by giving the top team in each conference a bye. You would have an extra wild card game, 3 games, and the playoffs would really be no different. And honestly, it probably would generate more interest and more money for the NFL, because some of you teams that fell out of the playoff picture, if you had opened up an additional spot, looking how competitive and how close these teams are, from being a good team to a bad team, more teams will be in the playoff hunt. Baseball expanded the playoffs with 1 additional team, and even though it's only 1 season in, it was actually a really exciting season based off of that alone. So think about it. Playoffs. Expansion. Alright, so that concludes another episode of Smart Remarks. I'd like to thank everyone for being patient with us for these past couple of weeks and for watching. We're going to take a knee here. Enjoy another great week of football.